Hello, guys. I'm going to continue on June 29th, 2025. I know that morning I remember I was like, man, it would be nice if I had something like a decent place to rest and a place to shower. But I was able to do laundry, which was very nice. And of course, doesn't really make any sense to me working on my love and compassion sadhana. I don't understand why I needed to do that now, but back then my thoughts like, oh, we need to do this to help with our love. But really the love was already there, You see? We just have to, be in the present moment to experience it. And I remember drawing an oracle card called Awe. While I was in that moment, just kind of worrying about what I was going to do next, I took a step back and reflect on of how far I made it. I started out with just $20, full tank gas, no plan. I say that in almost every single one of my vlogs. But again, one of the things I learned too is that you can't do it by yourself either. Even homeless people, they're not necessarily by themselves. They always have someone either give them money or some food. Life is always there for you in some way, shape, or form, even if it just doesn't seem or feel that way. And I remember it was a great miracle. I met new people. I have a friend out in Santa Clarita. He's from France, named Seri. I met some people. Well, I guess in this point of the chapter, I haven't met these people yet, so I won't reveal those just yet. But I remember he was one of the first people that I actually connected with and actually got his number. And we actually talk and hang out whenever he's available. But he has a family, so I don't try to bother him too much. And, it was very beautiful. I didn't realize how beautiful America was, especially just like each state, it just felt like it was its own like biome. Of course, Texas has a little bit of everything to some degree, especially when you go from Southeast Texas to West Texas. Like, for example, Southeast Texas is on the border of Louisiana, so there's a lot of marsh. And then when you get to Central Texas, it's more hilly, but it definitely has more of that California vibe, though it's not like California. There's just only hills, not mountains. And definitely not a beach. And ladies walking around in yoga pants all the time. And then when you get to West Texas, it gets very dry, it gets very hot. The earth kind of changes from these yellow golden hilltops, Caprius, Capriol, I don't know what, I'm probably butchering the word, but in Central Texas, it's very hilly, shrubbery-like environments. While in West Texas, it's more like desert. You see a lot of dust devils. I started seeing more rocky mountains. Like I started seeing mountains for the first time in Texas. I did not know Texas had mountaintops until I came across it. And then I went through southern New Mexico for a short time. And it was very desert, but I'll talk about it in future ones about after I made my lap and when I went more northern New Mexico and Arizona. And to me, the environment is way different from the southern parts. But yeah, like I just noticed how the scene, like including when going through California. California is a beautiful state. I love it here. I'm glad I'm here. I don't care if I have to spend $6 a gallon. It's totally worth it. Then you get through Oregon where it gets very like, it's just, I mean, yeah, again, mountains, but a lot of trees too. And then get into Washington, and there's a bunch of lakes and rivers. Again, mountainous region. I got to see Mount Rainier. It was very beautiful. Didn't really go actually in person. I just saw it far distance. And yeah, it just made me appreciate how beautiful everything is. And I'm glad I came to see it and experience it, even though I was just kind of figuring out what to do next. Then I drew a tarot card called Lovers, and it's just, by the way, like tarot cards, I don't really consider them being magical. They're very psychological. Always can find some kind of interpretation with the cards, no matter which one it is, and so can anyone else. And this card was about the lovers, and it was talking about making decisions, love, growth, and maturity. I'm glad I made the choice of leaving home because I felt like I wasn't growing as a person. I felt like a child, very immature, just, sad, unhappy. And then when I left, it was just very grounding and very, beautiful. It was exciting, but scary at the same time. And this was an opportunity to focus on myself, become one with myself in life. And when I was appreciating these things, I decided to try to go to, I guess, one of the lakes that was close to Mount Rainier, but it costs like $10 for parking, and I just used most of my money for laundry. And so I just kind of just burned some gas for no reason. I did find myself going to the next rest area, just kind of stretching out the time. You're really not supposed to stay there for more than 8 hours. As long as you're not I guess, lingering there for days. I don't think they really care, but I try to practice this sense of integrity to whatever the sign says, since I'm aware of it, to just do it, because life is always watching you. It always sees it through your eyes, through the walls, through the shirts, inside out. I did spend that day after stretching and meditating, pick up trash around the area. I always do that anywhere I go, even I go around this apartment and pick up trash. It's just, it puts my mind at peace. When you clean up life, you're cleaning up yourself. And again, this was at a point in my life where I was just trying to figure out, I was really tired and exhausted, and I was trying to figure out what to do next. And, at the same time, these pauses, it's just life trying to make arrangements for something else. Because I know I remember I was practicing mantras, but you don't really necessarily need to do that when putting yourself in a state of being, because you already are. And I guess the biggest takeaway in this story is life is always there for you no matter what happens. I'll continue to tell a story how I was able to move on, but I'm trying to do these like vlogs really short and sweet, not longer than what they need to be. Just, try to be descriptive, talk about how I felt and my realization. And I guess my realization was just to keep on going, even as it's uncertain. Even in like California, when I was ran on E, somehow life was there to, make those arrangements to get me gas and bring me to another point just for, lock my keys in the vehicle. But somehow, if I didn't lock my keys in the vehicle, I wouldn't have gotten money to continue my journey. And, it's just, everything comes to a balance, it doesn't happen just like that. It takes time and it happens very organically. It would happen when you least expect it. So that's why it's important to stay in the present, so the way life can give you what you need as a present. It's, again, easier said than done because our own thoughts, creates this perception that it would take us forever to focus on the now. But that, again, that's your thoughts telling you that. So just keep in mind, like, no matter where you're going in life, no matter what your hardships are, just to keep on going. And, focusing on the now will make you more connected with life than ever before. Thank you guys for watching. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Bye for now.